I grew this monster, like how do I go about this? I just didn't want to put too much pressure on myself. And you're trying to be a good mom, you're trying to cook a good breakfast, then the time is against you always.
Sometimes I want to like hide in the closet and just like scream.
Like I'm done for the day. I don't want to go to work and even talk to people, but I have to go and manage, you know.
It's the walk of shame.
It's a walk of shame.
Welcome to It Mom, a podcast where it is all about you. And I'm your host, Paulina Perry, and today I'm visiting Inga Avadan, who is the founder of bridal brand Tompet. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your story because you went from having 2 kids to starting your own fashion brand, and I think it's fascinating to hear how women evolve from motherhood into business. So I want to start with kind of exploring expectation versus reality, because I think the biggest hurdle for a lot of women is to bridge that gap between what they expected motherhood to be and what it actually played out to be. So for you, before you were a mother, how did you envision it?
I'm just trying to remember who I was before becoming a mother. It was a totally different person, and becoming a mother was obviously the most challenging thing, and I do believe with that it gave me a lot of strengths that helped me in becoming who I am today, and to be able to run, you know, the kind of like a high stress business. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely helped me to curve the path to where I am right now.
Did you have like a certain vision in terms of what you're going to be as a mother, that you're going to be the mompreneur? Did you envision yourself being a stay-at-home mom? And what kind of influenced that vision? Because obviously we all come from different cultures and backgrounds. Mm-hmm. We look at our parents and how we grew up. So is there anything that kind of affected your vision of motherhood?
Right, yes. Well, when becoming a mother, I didn't have any expectations, to be honest. I don't plan too many like steps ahead. I'm trying to be still in the moment. I don't like to put too much pressure on myself. So becoming a mother, I was trying to kind of figure this all out. Mm-hmm. And be in that moment. It was a beautiful thing, and I really wanted to enjoy it for enough time before going crazy into like entrepreneurship, business, and other hassles. I did, though, was always active in whatever I did. You know, I couldn't ever kind of sit still. Mm-hmm. If I may say that, I've been always doing something. Before becoming a mother, I was doing film and photography. Mm-hmm. And that was my path, that was my passion, and that was everything that I knew at that time. And when becoming a mother, I kind of continued that path. Again, without being like crazy focused on starting anything new. Mm-hmm. I was just continuing this on, and just trying to figure this all out. There wasn't like huge expectations or like huge plans, to be honest. It was mm-hmm. kind of like going with the flow, totally. You know, I just didn't want to put too much pressure on myself.
Figuring out as you go. Before we dive into your entrepreneurial journey and how you ended up where you are now, because we're at your showroom here in Vancouver, I want to talk a little bit more about the transition into motherhood. Because you mentioned that you didn't have a lot of expectations, but for women, it's always a very challenging transition, especially for women that are very entrepreneurial like yourself, very active, and I've known you before you had kids. I mean, not very closely, but I've been watching your journey throughout the years. And I think for a lot of women, that transition is the hardest piece, because they have to embrace who they are becoming and let go of who they were. So what was that for you? Like, who did you have to let go of in order to become who you are today?
Right. No, I totally understand. Like, it's a really hard transition, you know? And I think I've been learning about this before becoming a mother, that, it's going to be a hard journey. Like, mm-hmm. And when that happened, I had to let go some part of me, the part that really wanted to be active and do what I want to do, and kind of like take care of of the child at that moment. I did, though, gave myself some time, and after that I started to navigate and see, like, okay, what do I want to do now, and where, like, which direction I want to move to. It's definitely hard, but it's harder when we put even more pressure on ourselves, that maybe like we watching someone that already kind of like figured this out, and that again putting a lot of pressure on ourselves. I think it's important just to kind of give ourselves some time and just let it be in that moment, and know that this phase is temporarily. And then other, like, when there were hard days, I would always think of tomorrow is another day. And another day can be better. Today is really tough, but it doesn't mean that the next day gonna be the same. It's just like, I just need to just let it all go today, and I'm excited for tomorrow, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Obviously I had like a lot of opportunities even when becoming a mother. I've been continuing on with my photography because I had projects that I started before. So when I say that I gave myself some time, it's kind of partially true, because also at the same time I've been in like few days in, I've been on my computer just like breastfeeding the baby and doing some editing work. But again, it wasn't that, maybe because I was kind of self-employed and I could take a little bit of time and put less stress on me, and didn't have as many overheads as I would have now, right? So I was able to kind of navigate and take it step by step. And then after some time, I got some opportunities come from the magazine that was dedicated to moms. So the founder of the magazine, I've been in touch with her since, and she brought me a lot of different opportunities that were mother-centered around the motherhood. So I was actually enjoying this phase and started to phase out into kind of like mom influencing stage.
I remember that.
That was natural, and that was in that moment. So I was just more sharing what is happening, all the behind the scenes. I let go of perfection. I would just record stories, like just looking whatever in that day. But I think on the inside I was still glowing, but that doesn't come for everyone. I know some struggle a lot. Maybe I wasn't struggling that much at that moment. I had struggles in different phases of my life. But I think that moment was somewhat better than I know some people going through. So everyone experience is different, and I think it's important to recognize what you need in that moment, to feel better, but definitely not putting too much pressure on yourself, because everything has its own time. Like, it's not that it's gonna be forever, just give yourself like few months. We just wanna go back to the routine so fast, like right now, like 6 months, it's hard for us to wait. Like, waiting like 6-9 months, it's essential. Our hormones are all over the place. Like, we cannot exist on like no sleep, no like eating properly. We need to start taking care of ourselves first.
Mask on yourself first, then on your child. That's my mantra. I always say it. But so you would say that motherhood came to you maybe easier than to others because you were mentally prepared, and you also had the flexibility to allow yourself that time to rest. But if we were to recall one particular challenge, like what would you say was the most challenging stage of motherhood? Because you said that like at different times it was different. So maybe not right after birth, but when did you feel like, I'm overwhelmed, this is a lot, like what do I do now? Have you had that moment? Because my podcast is all about sharing these raw, unfiltered stories. And I find that as mothers and as women, we don't always share them. But I think it's so important to share them because women can find themselves in these stories and not feel alone and isolated in their experience. So if you could share one of these days or moments where you were like, oh my God, this is it. Like, what did I do? I think it'd be helpful for other moms too.
Totally, yeah. So, that's important. Again, because I mentioned there's different stages. So to me, the first child was okay. Like, again, there wasn't so many responsibilities at that point. So I was kind of taking my time, enjoying the motherhood. Everything was kind of like going well, right? And then I was breastfeeding my first child until 2.5 years, and I got pregnant again at that moment. So I was going nonstop, and I was like nutrient deficient so much. I wasn't taking care of myself as much, and when the second child was born, that when it got really, really complicated. Even like when I was pregnant with the second one, I had this like fatigue, intense fatigue. I like almost black out a couple times. I would say to my doctor, they're like, that's okay. I knew it's not okay. I knew that I'm just deficient in every thing that I could potentially be. And that was really intense. And when the second child was born, that's when I actually moved back to my hometown, where I stayed there during COVID for like few months, for like 6 months. And I was juggling motherhood on my own with 2 small children. One had like naps at one time, another at different time. We were barely sleeping at night because I was breastfeeding again. It's just breastfeeding didn't ever stop for 4 years, and that alone was a really difficult journey. I mean, it was fulfilling, but I mean difficult on my body. And I like, if I knew about this now, like back then I would definitely take care of nutrition and everything. So that was like 6 months were like the hardest in my life. I was sleep deprived to the point where I wasn't even able to go to a massage because I didn't want anyone to even like touch me. I was just, it was just so bad. And I couldn't really ask for help because it was at night when the shit happened, when, 3 hours every night we didn't sleep. Like, looking at it now, I understand what was the reason, right? Because it was like the wrong sleeping schedules. So the baby was awake at night for 3 hours and I was losing my mind. I was like, I was so down. It was the worst part of it. Like, I was like, at that point I was thinking like, why is it happening to me? Like, why it's been like that hard, and the tantrums of a 3-year-old, because that's when the second baby was born. The first one was 3. So at that point, because I was away, I just took time off, like completely off. I was just focusing on surviving and on keeping kids healthy, and so that was really, really hard. And I think like that moment, and it was hard for me also because I used to work and I used to do things, and for 6 months or even more, I was like, okay, I cannot do anything, like literally couldn't even like go on socials, post anything. Like I was just in surviving mode. And then when I came back here, I knew that I wanted to do something and I had to kind of like figure this out again. So that was like a challenge. And when I moved back here, I was thinking maybe like I should actually find a space where I can do photography, like continue on. And I found a girl who was also looking for a place, and we opened a photo studio with her. And that kind of happened so fast. So with that, like in a slow phase, back in my hometown, where it felt like forever, I was actually, taking care of the kids. But when I came here, things kind of sped up really fast.
Very quickly.
So it's like, again, it's a timing, it can feel like it's forever in that moment, but then, you just took time for something that was so important. And then you can sometimes find like your path really quickly afterwards.
I think it also gives you clarity. Like, I've been exploring the concept of pausing in my podcast with several guests. And I think there's so much shame attached to like slowing down and pausing, especially when it comes to your career, when you're a busy mother and you want to do things and you want to keep growing professionally. But a lot of times we don't treat the pause as part of the process, because pause provide clarity. In that time that you focused on the kids, your mind, you were more physically engaged, but your mind was kind of creating space for new opportunities and new ideas. And that's when you came back, things just happened very quickly. So I always say, whether it's in motherhood or even in business, sometimes you have to slow down, pause, allow yourself that time. I mean, obviously, if you can, not everyone has an opportunity to pause. Pausing is a privilege, so let's put it out there.
Totally.
But if you can, you shouldn't be ashamed of it, because it actually will give you a lot more strength, energy, creativity, and ideas to figure out where you want to go. I would always say, pause equals clarity. So I love that you mentioned that, because knowing you and how much you've done and how successful you are, it's important to put it out there that even you had to do that for yourself and your children, and that it actually translated into a new business opportunity. Okay, so let's go through the process of building businesses. So you opened up a studio, which was absolutely wonderful. I actually had a few photo shoots in your studio. I love it. Beautiful space. And then tell me more about how it unfolded afterwards.
Yeah, sure. So I opened the photo studio when the second baby was like a year and a half. That was also like quite difficult because I was like breastfeeding at that time, and the all turnaround for the studio, was like 3 weeks that we had to put it together and host an opening. And the hardest thing was because it was post-COVID, the furniture wars on like Facebook Marketplace was like so real. You couldn't get anything, it was just, so like, so quick. People would just buy off things because it wasn't available anywhere else, or you had to wait for months and months. So that was like really challenging, but I was able to source like a few really key, beautiful pieces. And I had to also think what is lacking on Vancouver market to implement into the studio, So I had to, like, I did the painting of the wall that looked like lime wash. So people didn't do that before, but it gives you good texture on the background when you take photos. I also like added the backdrop system that was easy, to pull down if you need different backdrops. And I also added a curtain that can close it all down. I painted the floor, everything. The space was such a bad condition. It had a wall that separated the both like kind of sides, so we had to break it completely down. So there was like a lot of work done, like a lot. We spent like weeks and weeks there, 3 weeks. But it was like really tough. But the studio had like a really good success. Like it was so good. Like looking at it now, it got like best awards like on like this platforms where I was renting this out, like as a kind of best studio. Major brands shot there. Sometimes I would open my like Instagram feed and I would scroll, and then I see my space in so many like advertisements or campaigns or shoots. Like it was all over the place. For 3 years, I didn't expect it to be that good. We had like multiple bookings a day, sometimes 3, 4, even 5. I think that was kind of like the max 5, or even like closer to 6. And it was going really good. But also, once I opened the photo studio, I thought I'm going to pursue photography. Then I have a space for it. I can bring clients in and create beautiful imagery. But I thought that I want to do it for my own brand, because I'm strong on branding and visual aspect of it. And I thought, if I had my own brand, that I can like maximize on the impact of visual storytelling. So that's when I decided to enroll in a business of fashion program internationally in one of the schools.
Oh, I didn't realize you did that.
Yeah, I did that because I really wanted to, kind of to step up, because I've been in photography for many years at that time, probably 10 years, and I wasn't shy of like trying something new. So I enrolled in that, and 2 months in, I was in a course. I actually thought of maybe opening my lingerie brand, but in like kind of cool skim style, but for Canadian market, because we don't have like a cool underwear brand.
We don't have any.
Right? So I thought like that's kind of the niche I would feel. But actually 2 months in, I received this DM from a friend of mine who I was shooting campaigns for. So she had this like bridal company that I always used to shoot the campaigns. And she's like, I'm selling the company. Like, do you know anyone who might be interested in buying? And like right away I started typing, no, I actually don't know. But then I paused and I thought like, wait, what if like I would take over it, you know? But the style wasn't like what I would do. But at the same moment, my Pinterest board started to fill up with different visuals and you know, like how I would do this if I would take over. And you know, I thought like I was just too afraid not to start this at all, then just buy it and just like dive straight into it and just figure it out as I go. Because, you know, like even having the underwear brand, and you need to find production, you need to find everything. And, you know, the production here, it was already set. You know, the machinery was there, the patterns, the people. So I thought maybe buying an existing structure in the brand would be actually easier than I know that I would actually do it, you know. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So we started all the, you know, like legal process of like purchasing the company. And on 1st of January 2023, I got a possession of the brand. So I became the owner of a different company though.
But you founded your own brand.
I founded the brand 3 months after that. So I purchased the company, and then I did the whole restructuring, improved all the processes here, starting from like margins, going to, you know, textiles, going to packaging, all of the, you know, e-commerce side of things. Like I actually, spent a lot of time learning all of that, because I didn't know anything about the e-commerce. It was like a new world to me, like all D2C, D2B, like what are we even talking about? So I was like, it was completely new world, but you know, I didn't sleep, I didn't eat this 3 months. Like I would just, you know, my mom was here, so she was helping a lot with the kids too. And I knew that that's kind of the time I'm taking. Like I also at that time, I mean, obviously right away I started kind of being also kind of like judged. Like I could feel it that, you know, I'm not being a kind of good mom situation, because, you know, I'm all into it. And like, again, I'm like not doing everything properly with the kids. Maybe I don't see them all the time and stuff like that. But I knew that I need this time to kind of put all my work into it. And I knew that I have 3 times mark. And after that, you know, things kind of go back to somewhat normal. So it's interesting, because when you take a pause, you also can be judged, because you're like not doing, or like, you know, especially in your head. But also when you do a lot of things, you're also like, no.
Yeah, you can never win.
You can never win. You can never please anyone. But that's why you need to listen to yourself only. Like,
and do what works for you. And I love it. And I did want to, you know, talk more about like how it was in terms of juggling this new baby, because you basically were having a third baby.
Totally.
And your baby's at home. So you mentioned that your mother helped, but did you experience any sense of guilt? Because I think that's where we eat on ourselves. When we have to travel. Like I had to travel for my career quite a bit, and every time I went away, I'd be kind of excited about the things I'm going to do, but also very sad and guilty about leaving my kids behind. And not just my kids, but also my partner, to look after them, because he was the one at the time, you know, making sure that they're alive and fed and, and healthy. So what was happening in your mind while all of this exciting business venture unfolded?
Well, I think because I like kind of set the boundaries for myself that, you know, I'm dedicating this 3 months and I'm doing everything I can to kind of like take care of this little baby that I'm like, you know, that I have now. So I'm trying not to get too much in this mindset of the guilt, because again, like there's a limit on how much you can give, right? And we just like, I think in this society we're trying to give everything to our kids. We like always feel not enough, because, you know, like some child is doing more you know, extracurriculum activities, or like, you know, spending more time, or like reading like that perfect book and storytelling time. But sometimes we don't get that. And I feel like what I was trying to do at that time, because again, I was like so limited on like how much time I can spend with my kids, I would, on the way to, for instance, if I pick the child up from school and we drive into gymnastics, for instance, on the way I would spend time just talking, just having a good conversation. We would have like 30 minutes, we would stop somewhere just to quickly eat, but I would like try to maximize to take the most out of this time
that you already had with
that
them.
I already have, even if it's 30 minutes, but it's a quality time. How was your day? I love you. I'm so happy to see you. You know, you're doing so great. Just being there and like maximizing this like small moments. We like depreciate the small moments. We're like, oh, we need like to have like hours a day, but it's actually the small moments that matter the most. You know, like small phrase can make such a big impact on a child.
Yeah.
You know, and if I think children also learn from us, they see what we do. You know, my kids come here like quite often because we have project days, you know, or they like a bit like you know, under the weather. So I bring them here and they get to experience that. They get to see what I do, and I think that's kind of like the biggest kind of like lesson I can give them. You know,
you've got 2 girls, so
and I have 2 girls. They're having fun here. They, you know, they can try veils. They see this exciting part, and
also they see their mom being, you know, a successful entrepreneur, working and like expressing herself creatively. I think that's important for kids to see. And I agree with you on the point that it's not about the quantity of time, but more about the quality of time. And like, I gotta say, when I spend time with the kids, even when I spend hours with the kids, a lot of times I wasn't really present because I was just, you know, constantly thinking about work and what I need to do. And I was cooking or I was cleaning. And only recently I kind of realized the difference between quality time and just time. And so now there is a very big distinction. I can be around my kids a lot, but if I'm not really with them in the present moment, I don't count it as quality time. So sometimes, you know, for busy moms, having those short pockets of time when you very present, you're on their level, you're talking to them, you're listening to them, you're engaging with them emotionally and like physically. I think that actually is more sufficient than spending the whole day and not paying attention to them, right? So like, again, everybody creates their own experience in terms of motherhood, but I love what you just shared because not every mom has the time and the hours to spend, whether it's a business or a very demanding 9-to-5 job, right? So in our economy, people work a lot and it's tough sometimes. So I love that point. So now you have this business. Obviously, you know, you've been on Dragon's Den, you've done a lot, you're being presented an award in a few weeks in Toronto. So you're doing very well, which is fantastic considering that you have pretty young children and they still engage in a lot of activities. They do gymnastics. How do you juggle it all? So you shared a little bit about like bringing them here, but what are your strategies and kind of things that you could maybe share potentially with other busy moms to engage your kids, stay connected with them, and also not to go crazy yourself?
Can we just dive into the last part? Like, not to go crazy. I think that's the most important. I mean, like, if we go crazy, then like we cannot take care of the children, right? So it's definitely starting like from taking care of ourselves, and that doesn't mean that I'm like always have enough time. You know, there's some like periods, you know, of life where like I don't work out because, you know, I'm so busy. But again, I know that I'm like, okay, that's like the period. It's important to recognize it all, you know, like recognize, okay, that's the phase I'm in. So, you know, I was recently in a phase where like I barely worked out for like 3 or 4 months, maybe like once like a month or something. But I knew because it was such a busy time, that's okay, that's fine. You know, especially like when you like scroll to their feed and then you see like people taking care of themselves or travel, like that doesn't affect me as much because I know that like I have my own path and I know I'm gonna reach to the point like where like this will be also like my thing, like, you know, I'm gonna go back to like something that I like. So with the kids, I mean, it's hard and there's no such a thing as balance, you know, like balance always changing, it's always switching, you know, from day to day. And again, some days you're like, okay, I'm gonna get so much work done this week, it's gonna be amazing. Then you like receive an email from school, it's a project day. You're like, fuck, is there like a 5-day at least work week?
Yeah.
You know? There's like 4. Most of the weeks is 4 days.
Because there's something, either they're sick or they PA
day or I don't know, whatever, statutory holiday, you know. So it's like basically like 4 days. Like let's get realistic. And then, you kind of need to get a lot of stuff done in a really condensed amount of time.
And they're also short days because you pick up your kids. They don't do after school?
No, because like I drop them off like 9 and pick them up like 2:50. So it's like it's so little time. So if you want to squeeze a workout, then it has to be only like 45 minutes. I never do an hour. There's no lecture. It's like 1 hour. So it's like 45 minutes maybe. But then also some days you can get a lot more stuff done. Some days there's like less. So there are phases then, like within 2 weeks you feel like you haven't done anything, like you haven't done much like work. But then you have like 3 days where you have a lot of energy and you get a lot of stuff done. So it's like it's always changing, it's always switching. So I think it's just recognizing that this week is slower, then the next week should be better, So and sometimes you also get so tired by the end of the day. Sometimes I like start having these thoughts. I'm like, oh my God, I grew this monster. I'm talking about the company, not the kids, but the kids too.
Little monsters.
Yeah, little monsters. But yeah, I'm like, I grew this monster. Like, how do I go about this? Like, I mean, I'm so exhausted at this point. Like, I don't know even like how to go further. But then I'm like, okay, like I probably like really tired right now. It's like 9 p.m. Like what I'm expecting to like find all solutions in this world. I probably need to, take a pause and look at this again in the morning. So I'm just going back to bed because, there's nothing I'm going to figure out tonight. Like I'm just going to exhaust myself. So I'm like, whatever, fuck it. Like I'm going to take care of it tomorrow. And, I'm waking up and I feel a totally different person, more energy, solutions come in and, you just like keep on rolling. But with the kids, again, like sometimes I have friends who is helpful, maybe like, if they want to do a play dates really help because I mean as mothers we can support each other. So if you have like anyone do like pick up sometime or drop your kids off, that's really helpful. So I have like there's moms in gymnastics that are like we really supportive of each other, especially like during like the days off or the summertime when there was no school, for instance. So we would switch. One mom spent time with 3 children, and then the other way around. And then you get like couple days free, and then kids are still playing together. It's not that hard at that age. I mean, like after like 4 years old, it's like kind of becomes easier. So I think helping like-minded crazy moms who are also juggling and stuff, and you can actually do this. Okay, let's just figure out how we can solve this. So
you can create your village.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that's so important. That's so important.
And you can support each other. I always say that like we're not meant to grow children in nuclear families where it's just mom and dad and that's it. Like it's always been historically that, it was a whole village. That's where the phrase came from, right? It was like a lot of relatives, a lot of friends, like a community that raised your children in a way that you just described, where one mom would take care of several children while the other mom is resting or doing whatever she needs to do. So it's great that you were able to create that. And I also kind of hear a bit of potential advice, because I'm going to definitely use that advice, is that if you can obviously use your community at school, because I think for school you meet a lot of moms and then kids know each other and you can create connections and do similar things. But also if you put kids into like sports or any kind of consistent activity, then you can connect with moms there as well, so that you can expand your village. So I think that's a good advice for some moms that may be looking for an opportunity to expand their village and create those connections. So with all that, I'm curious if there's anything else that you can share in terms of your daily struggles and how you manage such a busy, robust lifestyle.
Well, I mean, every day is constant struggle, to be honest. Like there's no sugarcoating. It's like it's really, really hard. Like I question just like my abilities every day. Basically, from the moment of like the peak, like the drop-offs, like the morning, like we can do a separate podcast on the morning, like on just like getting things ready and organized. They test you in ways, like you wake up, you like being already stressed because there's so much pressure on like work-wise, so many things to figure out, and you wake up and kids starting pushing you right away. You like wake up, you like just trying to take a pause, and like kids running in and they like, okay, I need this, I'm upset with that. You know, there's so many emotions already going on, and you're trying to be a good mom, you're trying to cook a good breakfast, then the time is against you always. We always rushing, we always late. There's a teacher at school, like not the teacher, but whoever sits at the front, like one of the...
picks them up,
No, I mean, at the administrator office, and she's always saying like, okay, maybe try not to be late tomorrow. And like, I cannot take this. Like,
so you have to take them through the office.
I
The walk
have
of shame.
to take it. It's a walk of shame. Like going through the office every time. She like, they tell me like you shouldn't be like late basically. And I like they push you to promise kind of that you're not going to be late tomorrow. You know, like
but you can't promise that.
By your question, and every day I'm like, am I gonna see them today? I think it's like it's already such a big challenge, you know. And I'm like, okay, let's get ready. Like, let's not go to the office today, you know, because it's a fucking challenge. Like, you don't want that pressure on yourself, but you have to go through this, you know. So like from like the morning, you know, by the time I drop kids off, I just want to go home and cry and not go like anywhere. Like, I'm done for the day
because you're just so emotionally exhausted.
I'm exhausted and drained that I don't want to do anything. Like, I don't want to go to work and even talk to people, but I have to go and manage, you know. So I go to the, you know, like the coffee shop. I get my matcha. I'm like trying to take a pause. And then I come here and I have to, you know, deal with all of the other things, you know. Yeah. So it's like a consistent stress. And, you know, sometimes, you just being like really exhausted. And I mean, some days a bit better. And I mean, I like those days when, you know, we kind of like the morning is a little bit better than the energy of the day changes completely because you're like more in control. I mean, in a good way, you're more like come from like you know, good energy and power, and then you can solve different things. But some days it's so tough that I'm like, how I even do this? And you know, sometimes I think probably because with the kids train us in such a ways that probably I wouldn't be able to run this business at all if I didn't have kids. It's really hard with the kids, but I mean, it's because of them. They pushed me in such a ways that like it made me stronger. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's not hard. It's hard every day, but they pushed me in a ways that it's like I can actually like continue on with this because it's so tough. And I'm pretty like usually honest. Like when people ask me, like how is the business going? I'm like I'm pretty straightforward. I think maybe it kind of throws people off sometimes, but I mean it's not doing well, or like it's really slow, or you know, like I'm pretty open about this, and because I mean I don't want to like people to think, oh no, it's everything's so good, and then suddenly someone is closes down, you know, that surprise. You know, it's hard. Like the struggle is real.
Yeah, and I think thank you for sharing that. I think it's real for a lot of people, not just moms, all people out there. And it's crazy how we are so used to seeing the highlights of everybody's life. Like what you just shared, I'm so grateful because I always look at your Instagram and I was like, wow, Inga's got her shit together. Like her kids are always well dressed. She always like has these beautiful breakfasts and she gets a coffee. She works out. She's got her own business. You know, how funny that we compare ourselves to someone's highlights. But then behind the closed doors, you're stressed, you're like in a rush. I mean, I ran to school twice last week because I was running late and I literally had to, it's like a 10-minute walk. I had to like jog there with my daughter to be on time. I mean, it's a good workout, but I'm like, all like sweaty and like panting at the end of it. And you know, because I don't want to do the walk of shame. I haven't done that yet, but we just started JK. So I still have time. I'm pretty sure we'll do walk of shame at some point this year because my mornings are the same. And they're just demanding things. They don't want Cheerios, they want this, and they want this breakfast. And if I don't have it, it's a huge meltdown. Yeah. Like my son is 2.5, so he just entered the tantrum stage. And then Sophie, my daughter, she's a sweetheart. She's like very, very well-behaved girl, but she's very like, oh, I need this, I need that, and I don't want to go to school, and I want this dress, and I want that. And you're just like, like sometimes I want to like hide in the closet and just like scream on top of my lungs, even though I adore my children. Yeah. But I totally hear you. And I think it's not that we need to eliminate that stress. I think we just need to talk about it more. So when it happens, we're like, well, that's a normal part of life. Like when we work out, we feel pain and we know that it's part of the workout. If you want to grow your muscle and be toned and be like healthy, you have to endure the pain and the discomfort of working out. Same here with parenting. Or business for that matter, anything that like brings you growth and evolvement in life, there's some discomfort that comes with it. We just need to be honest about it.
Yeah, and I want to add like to this also, like to the, the Instagram, the highlights and everything. I think it's just important to talk to other people. I mean, hopefully they open up, again, that's what I do when I like see people, I just say whatever is happening. And I think other people like it, because they get like it's really relatable, and I really trying to keep it this way. Like, I mean, on Instagram, I would still post, like something was like hard. I don't always go into like the really like shitty moments, just because I mean, in the shitty moments, like I'm just so down that
and you don't want to be negative.
Yeah. But I think it's important to keep your community like close by, that you kind of connect with real people in real time, in real life, and not only like scroll on Instagram. Don't let the Instagram throw you off, because it's just so not like realistic, sometimes. Because again, you like share highlights because there's a good moment and you want to like kind of keep it like there. But talking to real people, to real moms, I mean, I also like when you open up, I think that would be like the message for everyone, just like to open up. Like if we all open up of what's going on, like we would all like feel better.
Yeah. I really love what you shared today, and like I really respect you for what you're doing, and I think you are a great inspiration to a lot of mothers, for sure, for me. I wanted to ask you, if you could give advice to your older self before you had kids, when you were just starting your entrepreneurial journey, and you're building your family, what would it be? Would you have any words of wisdom for that version of yourself?
Well, I would probably say that the journey isn't going to be linear. It's going to be all over the place. It's going to feel like a roller coaster. But I feel like listening to yourself, it's one of the most important things. And giving yourself time, it's as equally important as going full on into work. Like that's what you also mentioned today, that we cannot exist on like always on mode. We need that time off to actually grow. To actually grow, we need that time. Without that time, it's just impossible. So I would just say to myself that I'm doing everything right. Everything is, at the right time in the right place, and kind of give myself a little bit more just confidence. That everything is where it needs to be, and just keep walking, keep following my path. I think that's something that I would probably say to myself back then.
Oh, that's great. I really like it. Every step leads you to where you're meant to be.
Totally.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Paulina. I think that's like so amazing what you do. And I think it's important to actually share this and for other people to relate and just to see a real journey of real people and real mothers, because motherhood can definitely feel isolating, especially if you also run in a business. It's like it's exhausting. And I mean, it's important to see the real picture. But also, like you kind of getting uplifted when you hear the stories that resonate. So, I mean, it's amazing that you highlight, all of that. I think you're like in a totally right path, and I'm excited to see other interviews and other mothers, you know, who are going through the same struggles. So yeah, I'm really grateful to be here. You know, that's my first video podcast, especially around motherhood. I think it's it's really unique, and yeah, I love that you gave this experience.
Thank you. Well, you see, like, I found my path one step at a time.
Yeah.
I want to thank everyone for tuning into this episode. If it resonated with you, please like and subscribe and join the community on Instagram at @ItMomClub or my personal account, Paulina Perry. And I'm excited to share more episodes with you.